Hello and welcome back to Sims Journey. Today we're going to be doing another Forever World save file update. So a little speed build action, and today's a big one, so let's hop into it. This build is featured on the Bridge Creek Drive 30 by 30 lot in, of course, Copperdale. Now, this lot is massive. The main house features 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 patios, an entertainment room, of course a kitchen, and then there's of course the guest house, which is a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, cute little tiny home we have going on here. And if you're interested in how that was filmed, go check out the speed build that we have on the channel. Now let's jump into the lore of the Price family, which is the original family that lived in this home. In the original Sims 4 lore, the Price family in Copperdale as a busy, high-energy household, juggling school, work, and big responsibilities, and big personalities. So Marcel is a writer, he's the dad. Janae is a career-driven and is the mom. And the kids, Sydney, Savannah, and Jaden, each have their own distinct paths through high school life. But in the Forever save files, I'm doing things a little bit differently. Things have changed. This takes place a few years in the future. So the kids are grown. Marcel and Janae have stepped into a quieter chapter of their life. So they are going to move into the guest house, open the small bookstore beneath their home, and just have like a cozy community space by the water. Sydney is now living fully as herself, confident and community focused, always bringing people together. Savannah has leaned into her love of tech, spending most of her time building, coding, and creating in her room. Jaden is still the heart of the family, easygoing, social, and figuring out life one day at a time. And then there's Kevin Puri, who once was a exchange student and now has become part of the household. So he rents one of the rooms and slowly realized that this place has become home for him. So together, the Price family has grown into something new. So they're still chaotic, they're still close, but they're deeply rooted in Copperdale in a completely different way, which was really my vision. So I somehow lost footage of the foundation of this home being made, and I apologize about that. But you can see we really went for a very similar sort of vision to the guest house that's next door, but just bigger. There is 2 patios on this. You can see we're putting the patio door in for the front patio, and then there's a patio on the back to really take in all of those beautiful Copperdale sights of the Ferris wheel and the boardwalk and all of that good stuff. And I've really a little bit with making roofs look normal in this build. So you can see me kind of fiddling here to see if I could somehow extend that roof line in a way that wouldn't clip through, and ended up deciding to put a patio on the back. So I think that that was a better option anyways. So here I am just clearing out to make room for the patio. The one thing that I would change about this build if I were to do it again is it feels a little bit boxy to me, but it's meant to be like a skinny, tall home. So I went with the same windows that we have in some of the other builds. I also went with the white color I'm going for in Copperdale and the same roof tone. The brick foundational point on the bottom is actually the bookstore, and then the next 2 floors are for the actual living space. So the first floor is the primary living space with 2 bedrooms, and then there's like a cool entertainment unit or section on the top floor, and then there is the 2 other bedrooms there, and then a bathroom on each floor. So plenty of space for your Sims to have all kinds of activities go on. Now we're starting work on the interior portion. Again, just making sure that those windows make sense where they're supposed to go, as well as making sure that those stairs are in an okay spot. I did struggle with where to put the stairs as well, but I eventually decided right inside the front door to the left. It made the most sense to me considering the layout of the second story. And then here we're just putting in the basic floor plan that we're going to go for, and we're getting started in the kitchen. I went with these yellow, I wanted to do a yellow theme for them. They just seem like such a bright family. So I went with these really cool country style yellow kitchen cabinets. And then I decided to get started on the bookstore. So here we are, just kind of add in tons of bookshelves, good lighting, and a lot of clutter to make this bookstore look legit. Now the problem is that I decided to do this as a residential rental and have each of the kids actually rent a room from the Marcel and Janae. So because of that, we end up with a little bit of, so because of that, we're not actually able to make this small business functional. You can't have a small business lot on the same lot as a family residential rental, which is a bummer. But I still wanted to, I like the storyline idea that we have this entrepreneur and Janae, and then Marcel's a writer, and they decide in their retirement stage to open a little bookstore because there's a lot of teens in this area. Obviously, Copperdale is where the high school is. Cute little downstairs bathroom situation that we have going on here inside the bookstore. Very compact, but I went with masonry for the walls as well to just tie that in to make it feel like it was in the foundation, basically. And I did this instead of doing it in the basement because I wanted you to be able to see the entrance from the front of the building. So you could walk down into that first stational floor, which ended up being the bookstore. Adding some plants, of course. Plants make everything feel better. And some different tiles. I did struggle with my tile choice here. I think I ended up changing it again later. So adding a couple signs on the front just makes it feel like home. And here we are. We finished the bookstore. Getting started on the dining room. So I went with sort of this smaller dining room table situation, a circle, felt like it made sense to me. So went with that, and then just loaded the area with plants. The more house plants, the better, to be honest with you. So I put as many cool plants as I could in there and tried to make the space feel very lively. Again, I wanted it to feel very bright, and even though a large space, still have that cozy feeling that you would imagine out of a family home. And we are ending it with a little water station there with some tea on it. Thought that was cute. And then just adding some clutter here, figuring out what we wanted to do to make the shelves look nice and full. That's one thing I really like to do in these speed builds, is just try to really make sure that it feels like a lived-in home for the forever save. Even though it won't be my Sims living in it, I still feel like it's important to make it feel like every home needs to feel like it's lived in, except for that vacation rental home. That one's the only one that's a little bit different. Although I think I did load that kitchen with a ton of clutter, so maybe not. I went with the curved island that I've been obsessed with doing recently. I just think it looks so cool. Bar stools, I decided against that. I didn't think that they looked really good. The living space, I went with sort of a white theme, and I like the curved furniture. I feel like it breaks up a lot of the harsh lines that we have going on in this build because it is a little bit boxy. And I wanted it to just feel really cozy, even though we're in a huge room. So those two rooms next to the living room end up being bedrooms, and then the room next to the kitchen ends up being a I struggled with walls in this build. I ended up deciding to do the masonry in portion of it, do some cool tile in the bathroom and the kitchen, and then went with a completely different wallpaper than what you see right now. I ended up changing it up a couple different times in all the different rooms and everything. I wanted yellow, but I didn't want it to feel yellowy, if that makes sense. Now just adding some decor to the kitchen, try to make it feel nice and full, and adding my favorite, kitchen clutter, just to make everything feel really lived in this home, especially because we have 4 grown adults living in this home. And then of course adding the plants. You got to add the plants. And just adding the final touch of plants to the living room, my little final touch that we like to put on it. Some clutter as well. We put a thermos on that. I feel like I just always add a thermos everywhere, but I feel like that's the best way to make it look like somebody actually lives there. And then we're adding some stuff to the walls, and I added another little plant sanctuary area underneath the stairs because I wasn't really sure what to do with that area. So I figured load it up with plants. Can you really go wrong? Now we're getting started on the bathroom. So I went ahead and went with a very neutral color palette for the bathrooms. Both bathrooms ended up using the same fixtures, which I always feel like is a nice little trick. I swear I'm not lazy. I'm a little lazy, but it makes it look like they went and they got a deal when they were renovating their house and they got like 2 sinks for the price of 1 or something. I don't know. So I felt like it just looked really cool to have. So I always do that whenever I do builds that are meant to look new. I like to use the same fixtures sort of throughout the house to really make it look cohesive. This is actually one of my favorite areas of the whole house is this bathroom area that we're setting up right now. I've never done just like, I didn't know what to put in that corner. And I was like, well, let's just, what about some countertops? What about the curved countertops? I'm loving those right now. What about this giant shelf? What can we put under the giant shelf? Some washer and dryer situation. So now there's a laundry room on top of a bathroom, which is great. More than I was expecting to squeeze out of the square footage here. So happy with that. And I've been obsessed with the around the toilet rug recently. I think it's from the maybe bathroom clutter. I can't remember pack or kit. And I love it. Absolutely love it. I use it. I've been using it in all my bathrooms recently. And then to move on to the bedrooms, downstairs we have on the right room is going to be Savannah, and then the left room is going to be Kevin. And then upstairs in the room in the top right there is going to end up being Sydney's, and the bottom right is going to end up being Jaden's. So I actually didn't have specific Sims in mind. Hadn't actually gone to CAS and checked out those Sims at this point in the build. So I knew I didn't have Savannah specifically in mind for it. I still feel like it came out great and fits her personality well. I was actually on Discord with my sister when I was building. This part of the build, and I remember her saying that she never gives her Sims TVs, especially in their bedrooms. What about you guys? Let me know because I'm curious. How do you play? Comment down below if you've watched this far. Comment down below so I know you have. And let me know how you usually do it. Do you put TVs in your Sims rooms? Do you usually give them a TV at all? How do you normally do that? Again, the moral of the story with this room was just tons of plants everywhere. So that was the goal. And I feel like we accomplished that. Getting started on the next room here. Again, I just wanted something neutral. I wasn't sure who was going to be in this room, so I just decided to do a very neutral style bedroom for whoever ended up in this space. I decided to switch these end tables out for something skinnier and taller. You guys, I know I've been all about these end tables from the Small Businesses and Hobbies pack. I love this table. I like how skinny and tall and simple it looks. And then just like a little getting ready area. So I put some plants in there, some cool, just like keys laying around, shoes laying around, little body bag, that kind of thing. This room actually ends up being for Kevin Purry. So I feel like maybe I need to go in and make it a little bit more masculine. But honestly, for now, I'm really liking how it turned out. So he can handle a little bit of a more feminine style room. That's fine. So we just put some art on the walls, and that's where we ended up leaving it with that room. I ended up adding some window coverings at the suggestion of my sister, so thank you very much. I always forget window coverings, always. So that was really helpful. And then we're finally gonna get started on the last floor. So here I am just copying pretty much the same tile upstairs, the same floor, the same, like I said, the same fixtures. I decided to make this little area over here like a chill living area. I have basemental, so all of my Sims like smoke weed basically. So chill little smoke spot with a TV that they can hang out in. And then I decided to put in some cool recreational stuff, like maybe a foosball table, little ping pong table, and I decided to add a arcade as well. Because why not? Because they can. Some cool motivational posters just to make it look more like somebody in their early 20s lives there, I guess. Added some clutter, and boom, we were pretty much done with the main living area here. So actually, this might be my favorite room in the house. I'm so happy with how this room specifically turned out. And the Wabbit tablet and the old kitten toy, just to put the cherry on top. Finished up the bathroom. Again, we just used pretty much the same fixtures as we did downstairs. It's just a more simple bathroom with a little bit of a plant. Makes it easy. I always try to do basics. To add a decent amount of bathroom clutter to my builds as well, just to make them look really realistic. This ends up being Jaden's room, actually. So I lied to you earlier. The top left is Jaden's, bottom right is Sydney's. So this one I wanted to just make a little bit more masculine, more like felt like, I think he's actually a teen in my game. So just make it feel like a teen actually lives there thing. I wanted to just do an absolutely stacked gaming station. I recently got the Comfy Gamer kit, so I wanted to use some of the stuff from that to make it really feel real, like there was actually a teenage boy that lived in this area. And then, again, currently my favorite nightstand that we're using there. And one last little shelf with some paintings underneath it and on top of it, just to make it look really lived in. The bulletin board and the hanging skis that hang and hang different items. And then just a couple of pieces of clutter to make it feel really lived in. So I'm actually really happy with this. Is probably my second favorite room in the house, Jaden's room. I was really happy with how that turned out. And then the last room that we have here, other than the patio and the outdoor section, is the room for Sydney. So Sydney in the original game is a male. Like I said, I made this build before I really looked at The Sims, and I read Sydney and thought it was a female, but it actually is a male. So I decided to transition them. So they have decided to transition. So this room is her room, and she is really into black and whites, into science. She has a cool telescope, but also has a computer and a gaming controller next to the computer, and then just like a little lamp next to some end tables. And then I added just a ton of clutter, a lot of makeup stuff, that kind of thing. There was a lot of room for me to put that kind of stuff around. Some black candles to really tie it all together. And that's Sydney's room all tied up in a nice, neat little bow. So now we're just putting some patio furniture out. Again, I just wanted it to feel cozy. People use these patios, and then of course some plants. You got to add some plants. In the back patio, I used the same patio furniture, but just like different sizes of it, and just made this cool little smoking corner basically. A ton of plants on the sunny side, so that way it would look like they're kind of propagating plants and things like that. A very large coffee table with a nice cool little rug underneath it, really ties it together. And then two little patio tables with umbrellas on it. Made it all come together just fine for me. So here I am just kind of going through, adding some finishing touches, and then we're going to move on to the outdoor section. So this is always what I do last in my builds. So I always add paths first, and then I like to outline my paths with the borders and then create some flower borders here, some flower gardens. I like to use the trees that are around the lot as inspiration for the trees and plants that I use in the lot, so that way it really blends in with the existing lot and world that it's in. And I just filled that bed up with a ton of flowers. I wanted, and all those cypress trees that line the left side of that flower border really are designed to make it feel like you have a little bit more privacy in both the guest house and the main house, as well as to make the business opening feel more like a sheltered opening. And then some plants up here on the patio, and we pretty much have wrapped it up. So again, this has been one of my favorite builds I've done. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like now the Price family is able to continue to live together, increase their relationships together. They're a really close-knit family. So the fact that all of them share a house hasn't been a problem. And I can see Marcel and Janae really grow into this home through their retirement and see maybe their grandbabies and just continue to live in the beautiful Copperdale. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I super appreciate it. Make sure you check out some of the other videos on the channel. Subscribe, like if you enjoyed this. We're trying to get to 50 subscribers, and we're at 31 as of today. So we're getting there, guys. Once we get to 50 subscribers, we can do a YouTube live stream. So that's kind of the goal. Also, make sure to check out simsjourney.com for all of your legacy tracking needs. And I'll check you in the next video. See you later. Bye. Hope you have a good day.